check it real quick. Alright, I assume you guys can hear me now. So you may have seen people on stream have their mic muted before, but I bet you never saw them completely forget to bring a mic at all. I literally just didn't even have my mic in the same room. So I hope it works now. Let me know if you can hear me. But yeah, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video. This time, as the title suggests, I will be talking about my wildcard team. And as I previously said into no microphone, you know, deadline streams typically end up focused more around questions people ask me, which is what they're intended for. So this time I wanted to go ahead and, alright, I'm going to make this stream now. That way I force myself to really go in depth and really consider options. That way I'm not, all of a sudden I consider something and then I'm making a last second transfer like I did last stream, even though it worked out pretty well. I want to go ahead and get that out of the way now and consider all the information before all of a sudden I'm bringing in Saka right at the deadline. So yes, welcome, guys, and you stayed through. Wow, I can't believe I did that. That was pretty funny. Anyway, anything else that I said there that I forgot? No. Oh yeah, but so wildcard decisions. This is the team at the moment. I've made a couple of changes since the last video. I have Soufal in right now. I have Meslier and Johnstone, neither of which play this week, but they both have the double next week. And considering that I'm going to bench boost unless, you know, postponements or something crazy happens, I'm looking at, okay, so there's no point of me getting a keeper that plays this week and next week if those two fixtures combined are worse than, for example, Johnson's two fixtures next week. Either way, it's two fixtures, and two fixtures is two fixtures. These fixtures are pretty good, whereas if I brought in like the cheap keepers, there's not many options here. A Sheffield United or Newcastle guy, well, they're just not as good, and Newcastle are expensive. But Sheffield United, he's kind of expensive too, isn't he? But they play Tottenham next week, and it's just like, you know, I think I'm going to go with Johnston. He's 4.5. He costs 0.1 more than the Brighton guy I had, who plays Man City this week. So yeah, probably just going to go with at least no goalkeeper, maybe one other non-playing player, but there's a lot of question marks. So yes. Yeah, no Salah. I transferred out Salah on wildcard. It's probably temporary, and that's another thing I sort of have to talk about in terms of what I'm going to do with that whole situation. So, let's see. Let's identify some players that I'm or that I'm not confident in. So, Holding can go because I'm not 100% certain that he starts. He may be a short-term option anyway. Like, this could be a player that I transfer out for somebody that has a double game week next game week anyway. So Holding's not for sure in here. I think I'm going to stick with these goalkeepers. You know, Kane, now with this Fulham fixture, it sucks because Villa not having the game, a lot of my structure was dependent on the fact that I trusted El Ghazi. It really was that. Like, now I have Souček in here, and that makes me think that, okay, I can almost... Okay, I didn't have Son because I'm like, okay, I can get better options, such as El Ghazi, and I actually lost the price that I had on Son. So maybe going Son over Kane is now the way to go, or maybe I try to find a way to fit in both, but the point is there's no longer this great alternative that I liked Son that was so much cheaper. I mean, Souček's there, of course, and Neto's a little more expensive. He's kind of there. Podence is out, so Neto's going to play, you would assume. Not that he wasn't anyway. Everton, West Brom, that's pretty good. So him in could be something, but let me first just look at, like, do I even have the money to do this? Not really. I mean, there's really not many forwards I want. I mean, Colin Wilson is up there. Of course, we're going to open up the understat.com page just to check everything, make sure, like, the statistics are what I think they are or how I'm thinking of them. How's Colin Wilson been doing recently? Because I know early on I sort of criticized him as an FPL option just because I felt like Newcastle were getting a lot of lucky penalties. Let's look at expected goals for Newcastle over the course of the season. They're bottom 3 with 16 games played. That's not great. And I just don't trust Newcastle to score goals. Let's look over the past month or so. Yeah, we can do the past month. Over the past month, Newcastle, okay, they're, 6 from the bottom. Again, Newcastle not great. They're one of the worst creative teams. And we can do the same. Let's expect goals per 90 minutes over the course of the season. Where does Colin Wilson rank? That is the question. Oh, he's on the second page. He's high up there in terms of expected goals. But let's sort by the last month. Let's see if there's like a major drop-off. I expect there probably will be somewhat of a drop-off here. So, is he on the first page? Expected goals per 90 minutes. No. Who actually is, besides these players that haven't played a lot? Lacazette is killing everybody. And Mahrez, he's barely played. Never mind, doesn't count. But Lacazette with significant minutes. Pretty high up there. See, look at El Ghazi. I mean, it's just too good to be true. But of course, who knows? Maybe he'll come into my team at some point. Martial, all the way up here. And he's in my team right now just because I sort of need somebody that plays this week. Martial is risky too. I'll get to him later. But, geez, if he plays, I feel like he's a good option. I would just hate to have him rotated. You see Harry Kane's up there. Has Son come up yet? Probably not. Rashford. See, Rashford's not amazing, but I'm still not. Okay, there's Colin Wilson. He's finally, he's lower than a lot of people here. It's not fantastic for him. He does have good matchups though, but it's not the structure I really want. I think I'll probably still go with the cheaper option in Kane. I don't think I want the double up because, as I mentioned previously, I'm not a huge fan of the Tottenham attack in general. They have great matchups, so maybe a double up is worth it temporarily, but I just don't trust them to really be that creative. Leeds is sort of just a great matchup for them, I think, with the way Leeds play. So Souček and Holding, there's like no money here to do anything with, but let's go to Souček. Let's actually go to West Ham's most recent game because I want to see what's been going on with him in terms of, is he getting shots inside the box? Because I don't think I watched this game. Oh, no, I did not. I didn't watch Southampton West Ham. Who else do we have? We have Everton here. So Everton versus West Ham. Okay, this is a pretty good matchup to look at. I feel like Souček could have had a quantity of chances here. Obviously, he scored. So Souček, first of all, expected goals very high. Only 2 shots, but where did he get his chance? It's right in there, of course. His other shot is right in the box as well. So 2 shots, like, closer than the penalty spot in the same minute. So it's probably the same play. Other than that, nothing much. I mean, it doesn't look great for him. He's a guy where I'd have to watch the game to see how much he's drifting into the box to get on the edge of crosses. So that's something I'll have to do at another time. Watch the highlights, see how far he's getting forward, because that sort of matters a lot for me. So Souček is up for grabs, but I'll have to decide on structure-wise, how that works. Martial. So the reason I didn't free hit instead of wildcard is because basically I feel like the teams would end up being similar anyway, and the wildcard sets me up for the bench boost, which I want to go ahead and get out of the way. Not only that, but I didn't have any Man City players. I want to bring these players in longer term. We've got Cancelo here with great matchups. Cancelo's been getting forward very well. Stones, same fixtures. De Bruyne, same fixtures. It allows me to get rid of one of my Tottenham players pretty easily, which I was interested in doing. Now with slightly better fixtures, it doesn't make it quite the same. But I also had triple Aston Villa. I didn't know that at the time of the decision, but I was just so focused on getting players in like Bamford, for example. Like, he has a double game week that's pretty good, but after that he also has good fixtures. So I think it's a good time to wildcard. I'm not interested. I was never really interested in free hitting in game week 18. I prefer to free hit in the double game weeks. Just how it is. I think Lacazette is a good option. If you think he's going to start consistently, but he still costs a lot. So I can check him out. As I said, Lacazette's got great expected goals. I think I don't think he's a player I can necessarily trust that much. How much? I mean, I guess him and Martial are in the same boat here. So let's look at Lacazette. Not the double game week. Martial has one extra fixture, so right away it's like kind of an issue, and he's alternated starts. It's not quite the same as Martial. Like, where's Martial at? Lacazette started 2 of the last 4. Martial has started 1, 2, 3, 4. He started 4 of the last 5, and 5 of the last 7. So that's not terrible. He did just get rested. I think he starts against Burnley, and that's good. But is he really going to start in these 2 games here that are 3 days apart? I can't say he does. So Martial, Holding, and Souček, I'm kind of questionable about. Martial gives me a game this week, though. Like, who else can I really go for? I have Triple City. I have 2 Manchester United already. The Manchester United defenders have injury problems right now, and I'm not so sure about the status of them because besides that, there could be some rotation there anyway. We saw Lindelof play in their last game. I don't know. To be honest, I like Bailly, but it just sort of adds a little bit too much confusion. Maybe the way to go here is, just to get an extra matchup, I could get rid of Dallas. Now, the thing is, Dallas, look at these fixtures that Dallas has in the double game week. Brighton and Southampton. Does this make a difference? Because I can get Loughton, wherever Loughton's at. He hasn't played too much, has he? But he has 3 fixtures over the next 2, but they're not great. Manchester United, West Ham, Liverpool. Is that better? I mean, he's cheaper too. Is that better than just 2 fixtures? Brighton, Southampton. I would expect Dallas to have a decent chance against Brighton, but against Southampton and Ings, I would say that's probably going to be a clean sheet they lose. Maybe I do throw Loughton in here, and maybe it's instead of Holding. It's not great fixtures afterward either. It's really not amazing, but he plays 3 games. How value is the 3 games? Not really sure. Yeah, I agree, Ali. I think there's a chance. I know this is a comment a long time ago, but I think there's a decent chance that Holding could be like a long-term guy going forward. I just don't know if he's going to be a guy that they play 90 minutes every week. And at 4.4, I can't really say he sucks if he doesn't play 90 minutes every week, but I still want him to start most of the time, Oh, you got El Ghazi in for Neto. That sucks, yeah. DCL, I transferred him out, and he is out. Son, Fernandes, or De Bruyne for captaincy. We can do captaincy in a bit. I can go ahead and talk about it now. So captaincy for me, we can go ahead and mention. So, let's do the usual thing. Wait, what happened last game for these teams? I'm forgetting. Feels like a long time ago. So Manchester United, that's right. They beat Aston Villa 2-1. Could have scored a little more that game, perhaps. We've got, you could captain Tottenham players. Tottenham play Fulham. How well did Fulham defend last game? I know I just said they haven't been the most creative. They didn't play. Fulham defended very well against Southampton. 0.12 expected goals conceded. That's actually very good, and that sort of underlies or highlights a trend recently that's been going on with Fulham. They've kept a lot of clean sheets actually, or not clean sheets, but they defended well. I don't know why I said they kept a lot of clean sheets. Expected goals against over the past couple. So they've only played 4 games, and compared to most of these teams that have more, but still Fulham. 3.67 expected goals against is very good. So let's say we add 2 games to this, so that's a little bit less than 1 goal per game. So let's say they have, 5.2. They're right up there for like top 3, top 4. Fulham expected goals against over the past month or so. So Fulham had defended well. I think that right there, and the fact that Tottenham haven't been creative, it makes me not want to have a double up on Tottenham. But they've still been great this season, and I wouldn't bet against them completely. You just don't really know. I would not trust them enough to captain them. So I think for me, that leaves it between these two guys. What are the other matchups that you could even consider? Maybe Colin Wilson, but I would never personally do it for the reasons I previously mentioned about Newcastle not really being able to score that much. So Man City and Manchester United and Arsenal maybe. I mean, Saka is one of Arsenal's best options. So if you're going to captain anybody from Arsenal, I think Saka would be right up there with the Lacazettes and all those people. He was subbed last game. They clearly think he's got a role in this team in terms of starting every game. He looked great last game too. Just watching him, he sent plenty of crosses in that wouldn't have registered in a lot of the stats because people barely didn't get a touch on them. And Aubameyang probably should have scored one of them, but didn't register as a big chance created or anything like that. I like Saka. I wouldn't captain him though. I think honestly the reason I'm going Fernandes right now is because I trust Manchester United more. Because Man City have done this so many times. Let's see. So yeah, they beat Chelsea 3-1. That's all. That's fine and stuff. That's all cool. But we want to see how you play against the little teams. Now, a lot of this depends on how Brighton's set up, but I don't know. Will Brighton just copy the sort of Leicester tactic where Leicester, game week 2, I felt like they played it, or game week 3, I felt like Leicester played this perfectly against, I know it's Leicester and they're better than Brighton, but I feel like they played that perfectly against Man City. And other teams have done the same. Even Leeds, who, most big teams have scored a lot against Leeds. Man City scored 1. They only scored 1 against Arsenal when Arsenal are really struggling. 1 against West Ham. 1 against Sheffield United. I mean, I've probably pointed this out 20 times in the course of this season, but 1 against West Brom, 1 against Southampton, 2 against Newcastle. How can I really trust that to do anything? So let's look at De Bruyne recently. Let's just sort by Man City, guys. Team Man City, just to get an idea. They have looked a lot better last game. I remember watching last game that Man City played against Chelsea, and I'm like, wow, I can't really go without De Bruyne for these fixtures because at some point he will return big hauls. There's no doubt about it. So De Bruyne, as a midfielder who creates a lot, still over the course of the season, pretty handily beats everybody in terms of expected goals, as you can see. 6.71 for De Bruyne. Over 2 more than the next, which is Sterling. So let's go past month, as usual. Past month, filter. And De Bruyne is still up there with, of course, Gundogan second, who's gotten in a lot of great positions. I still wouldn't really consider him as a long-term option. Free hit or maybe 2 game week, I think is fine, but I quite like the looks of the defenders, so I'm going 2 defenders and De Bruyne. But expected goals per 90 minutes, Gundogan beats De Bruyne, which is interesting. But this expected assists per 90 minutes, De Bruyne has been unlucky on both accounts. Expected goals and expected assists, you can see they're higher than the actual goals and actual assists he's gotten. And I think that's sort of been, whenever I've watched the games, I've felt that way for De Bruyne. Like, I felt like his teammates should have finished more, and he's been finishing kind of poorly. He missed that 1v1 that I'm like, I never expected him to miss that. So maybe he starts being a little more clinical, and maybe his teammates do as well. With Man City, there's a chance this happens at some point, but again, I wouldn't bank on it completely. So De Bruyne or Fernandes are fine. Let's go to Bruno. So let's keep these numbers in mind here. Let's go to Bruno. We can also look at the rest of Manchester United here. Actually, we pull them up at the same time. But they're both on penalties, and they're both just too good to skip up on, Bruno and De Bruyne. But Bruno has just been so reliable. Like, over the past, ever since he's joined the Premier League, he's been reliable. I can't bet against that. I think he's going to be my captain. So, where are they? So Bruno has De Bruyne in terms of expected goals per 90 minutes over the past month. He's played an extra game though, but that's per 90 minutes. That's a fine sample, and expected assists per 90 minutes, De Bruyne has him. So expected goal involvement, De Bruyne, but if you want more goals, Bruno, according to what's been happening recently. Now, Man City, Now, the issue is the one reason that you could argue that De Bruyne is a better option. Again, at this point, it's probably just like pick one. But what I was going to say is that expected goals against Burnley, when you watch them, you think they defend pretty well. Pope does a very good job of saving shots. They've given up a lot of expected goals. Look at this. 2 goals against, 7.75 expected goals against. That could be tactical reasons, I don't know exactly, but it looks good for Pope. So, yeah, or maybe just poor finishing, or whatever the case may be. But with Bruno, I don't think you really bet against him here. I'm going with Bruno. I'm not even gonna overthink it. I think it's pretty close where I'm just gonna pick one. I don't necessarily think there's gonna be any piece of information that's gonna sway me that I already haven't considered. So I honestly haven't even given it much thought. So, and yeah, somebody asked earlier about triple Manchester United, and it could be bad, yeah. But they have 3 fixtures over the next 2. Rashford and Bruno, you would expect them to play 90 minutes every week. Now, Rashford has had some cases this season where he's been subbed off for this 45-minute appearance, which were kind of strange. But in general, 90 minutes. And Bruno, same for him. Martial is the risky guy, I would assume. But I've mentioned this in previous videos. I'm not, just because it's a triple up doesn't mean I'm going to get rid of one of their players. If I think they're the best options, I think they're the best options, and that's the end of the story. Just because it's more risky with regards to one team's performances doesn't make it a better or worse strategy. It's just different. It just depends on the team a lot, and I'm okay with that if I looked at it independently and I like the players. So, back to the team. Pretty much going to captain Bruno is my conclusion. But, from the numbers, it's been like this all season where it's pretty much hard to separate the two. But Bruno has a little more goal threat and De Bruyne is a little more creative. That's about how it goes. Gundogan's a good option. Espen, I know I'm late to this, but like I said, long term I don't really like him. But I think if you have like Cancelo, De Bruyne, and Gundogan for these next 2 game weeks, I think that's a fine triple up. The captain pick for me is Bruno out of those. Surov. Oh, my plan of getting Salah back. So back to the wildcard team. It could easily be Kane out. I think this is the simplest way to do it. Maybe for the Liverpool-Tottenham game, or maybe when they play Chelsea or whatever. Now, they do have some good fixtures here intermittently, Tottenham. But I think the easiest way to do this would be Kane, and then probably Souček would be the one to make way, or Rashford. Depending on what happens here, Rashford could go very soon. I know he has good fixtures, but maybe after game week 20 against Sheffield United, maybe he goes in. But I hope Manchester United look really good, and then I can hold this triple up long term. That would be ideal. But if not, because I can put one of these players on the bench. So I can downgrade one of these players to a bench player effectively, which means that I can bring in Salah, and then I can change Kane. I know this is 3.9 in the bank here, and I can't complete that. So I would have to make like one other transfer to do that. But this could be Brewster, or I would try to get Brewster if I could afford him. And let's see exactly what I could do with this. I can't quite afford Ings with that. So maybe I would have to go somewhere else. So let's see. This would give me a 3-5-2. I just need a decent striker. And from this point, I could just get basically anybody at the 6 million range, which isn't a lot anymore. But Colin Wilson, decent fixtures, maybe, if he looks good. At this point, things will change a lot, so not really too sure. But that's one way it could happen. The other way, if Manchester United don't look good at all, then Rashford out to Salah, and then Martial down to probably Brewster just to get the sub. But I could also, if I wanted to keep an unnecessary amount of good attackers, I could get like Netto, or not Netto, a striker, Watkins or somebody. But I think this would be the way to go. If, depending on how things look, if I want to get rid of Martial and Rashford, which could be the case, then we go like this, and then we also have money in the bank. And that's the way I was initially planning on doing it, because I definitely won't be priced out of that with 1.7 in the bank. I could do that in 2 moves. But it'll be tough to get rid of Martial and Rashford because they have such good fixtures long term, like obviously 18, 19, and 20. I don't think I could sell them ahead of that. Maybe Arsenal and the rest here. But other than that, I mean, De Bruyne out, would be easy as well. I would just need to make one little money move somewhere, which could be Kane, could be a lot of people. Also, does Kane to Vardy give me money? That's something I need to look at, because Kane to Vardy could be a move in the future too, because Vardy has pretty good fixtures. I think it should, right? Yeah. So Kane to Vardy could be a place where I get some little extra money here. And I thought about just starting off with Vardy, but I'm glad I held Kane to just see what was going to happen. Now that they play Fulham, I'm going to keep him. So how did I have it? Oh yeah, Rashford. So Kane to Vardy gives me what? Gives me 0.2. Really? Is that it? No, 0.6. Wow, I'm really tripping. So that's 0.6 right there. That can actually do a lot if I would be interested in that. What game week would I be interested in doing that? Game week 21, bringing Vardy in for Leeds, Fulham could be good. It's not great long term. I'll probably just end up keeping Kane, to be honest. Like, I've kept him for a decent bit. Or I've kept one Tottenham player pretty much all season, I'd say. And besides like one game week, it's just hard not to have at least one of them in. So there are plenty of ways, because I have so many attackers. Like, I don't really have a bench play. Like, I don't have a 4.5 guy here. So I just downgrade one to a 4.5 and upgrade Salah to Salah somehow. But who knows? Maybe I don't even have to do that. When does Man City? So maybe I wait all the way until like Man City's fixtures get tough here to bring back in Salah. That would be a long wait, but De Bruyne still hasn't got that many FPL points compared to a lot of other people. So who knows? But for now, Salah's out for sure. So back to what else I could do. Again, I want to go ahead and decide this now for the deadline stream. Let's see what you guys are saying. Wilson, good transfer in. I'm not necessarily convinced by him, to be honest, but I don't think he's a bad transfer in. I mean, if you told me you were going to transfer him in, I wouldn't initially think that's bad, because he's got 2 good fixtures and he's got a lot of FPL points this season. So, but he's the penalty taker, and you just have to be trusting of Newcastle, I guess. Lallana, Welbeck, Lamptey out too. Ouch. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, good luck. Antonio for double game week 19. I would have to say I personally don't trust him. But if he does start consistently, I do like him. I'll have to look up some news on Antonio to see if he's going to start. But let's just search FPL Antonio on Twitter and let's see what we got. Let's see if there's huge things that come up. Probably not. Well, Andy's looking at getting him in for game week 19. It seems like there's probably still uncertainty. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could get him in, but they are good fixtures. And somebody the other day did ask me why I don't have West Ham players, and I'm like, you know what? I could probably get Soufal back in. I initially transferred him out. I think I lost some price on him, which was a mistake. But especially with the change of plans, I was going to get Target because he has 3 fixtures in the next 2. But now he doesn't, so I'm back to Soufal. And, these are good fixtures longer term. I'm okay with it. So, guys, do you have any suggestions? Let me know if you have any suggestions about what I could do with this team. Because I feel like I'm kind of stuck. The Martial thing, if I do go Antonio or somebody cheaper like that, that would allow me to upgrade Souček. And that's something I'm interested in, but I don't know how I would get enough games this game week. So I have 2 people not playing. The rest of my players, I feel like they're pretty good. I have triple up Manchester United, triple up Man City. I'm making the most of they play in the blank and double in the double thing. I got Kane, who I want to keep. Saka. Holding could be an issue. So maybe I go Holding. And I like Holding. I would hate to get rid of him and then see him start every game. I think Dallas is the easiest way for me to get somebody this game week. I have to decide if it's worth it, though. Because it's just a cheap defender, like, you know. But who could I get that plays this week that I would really be interested in? So Newcastle plays Sheffield United, and then they play Arsenal. Leeds two fixtures are better than that. Even though they're both in the same game week. And I could make a transfer. So maybe I bring a Newcastle player in, and then I transfer them out for Dallas. You know, like maybe I do a pre-planned transfer like that. But with my team currently, I'm sure I could already do something like that. And that's sort of what I haven't really thought about yet. What transfer I would make going, because it could easily be Holding or somebody like that. But at the same time, playing him next week is not an issue. Right now, I bench boost, and let's see. So my starting lineup, when I bench boost in the double game week, I have Dallas, Stones, Cancelo, Soufal, both goalkeepers, doesn't matter. Let's say 3. All my midfields besides Saka double, and all my forwards besides Kane double. So my people that don't have a double game week are Kane, Saka, and Holding, and that's it. So that would make my bench boost John Stone, Holding, Saka, and Kane. And I think that's a pretty strong bench boost. I know that's all single game week players, but they're single game week players that have good matchups. Besides Johnson, he's double game week. So that's not a bad bench boost, especially considering one of them is literally Harry Kane. I would be happy with that bench boost. As long as Arsenal do something. But maybe I do something else here. Burnley is a team that interests me because they have 3 fixtures. But I'm not sure exactly what I would do with that knowledge. I don't really trust their attackers enough. You know, let's look at how Burnley have been attacking wise. Maybe this will change my mind over the past month. Burnley over the past month, 5th last. But they played 1 less game, so they would probably actually be... They'd be about, you know... They'd be probably above Crystal Palace, maybe. Somewhere up in there. So it's bottom of the barrel. You know, it's not good. It's certainly not good. And I think I want these strikers besides Martial. Let's say I don't get Martial for a second. And let's say I do get a Burnley striker. Just because they play a lot of games. It's kind of... I don't really want them, but, you know. They play games. They play the game of football. He has a chance. If I was to get a cheap striker. Instead of Mr. Martial. Then that gives me 2.9 in the bank. And then maybe Souček out. But is Souček out really worth it? That's the question. I think I like the people at the cheap price range anyway. And maybe I go Netto. You know, that could actually be something that makes sense. If I do like Wood, I could go Netto. So let's see. Then I have an extra player playing. I'm okay with that. And then my one transfer for the bench boost could be like Netto to Souček. Maybe. Netto to Souček. And then I'd still have the same bench boost. Souček would be playing in the double game week. But I could spend $8 million. I don't really like this price range of midfielder. I feel like this is why I didn't end up with this team selection in the first place, because I'm not sure who this person would be here. Maybe Zaha for. Then it would just be a 1 week punt, and then I could transfer somebody in that doubles. As far as 1 week punts go, I think Netto would be the way to go here. Can't afford Son. Not interested in. I think it would be Netto. So Netto would. Let's see. Let me check chat here for a second. Oh yeah, they did sell Haller. I mean that's very. It looks good for Antonio, but I still just don't necessarily trust that he'll stay healthy, and they probably will make another signing soon, just for more depth, I would assume. But Haller, I criticized him in the past. I know he scored some decent goals, but his movement is terrible. A lot of times he looks like he's lazy. He doesn't want to be there. I don't know. I wouldn't like playing with him besides the fact that he's a professional, but in terms of his effort, I don't know. I prefer, in general, I prefer the early transfers. But with the current situations, Pashan, I would probably say you just have to be careful. I mean, if you really need the price rise, then go for it. I'm always going to be a general fan of early transfers because I think price rises are important. But now it's just more of a risk now. So don't do it every time, especially if there's rumors or if, also like, for example, let's say you have... I'm trying to find, do I have an example of this? Oh yeah, so for example, I have De Bruyne, right? I brought him in, we can see here if we go to list view, that I brought him in at 11.6, he's currently 11.7. I can only sell him for 11.6 now. So let's just say we're in a scenario where I'm looking to sell De Bruyne. His price is going to drop tonight, but I'm worried about the player I'm going to bring in. So I'm trying to delay selling him as long as I can. In that situation, I can let his price drop because it doesn't affect my selling price. If you've made like an odd number, so if you've bought somebody at 10 and they've only went up to 10.1, 10.3, 10.5, if they've only went up an odd number for you, you can afford the 0.1 drop because it doesn't affect your selling price. So that's one thing, just a little FPL tip to keep in mind, guys. So again, Wood and Neto, is that better than Souček and Martial? Martial has so much more upside than these guys, I feel like, and I can't really go Neto. Originally I had Ings. This was my team for a bit, actually. I had Neto and Ings here, but now that I need more players to play this week, I don't have Ings. Also, Martial's fixtures are better than Ings, but of course, Ings is more net on to start. I mean, they both have some injury things, I guess, but Ings is still more injury prone than Martial. Ings is an option. I like him against Leeds. Leicester isn't bad. Arsenal's okay. Villa's okay. Their fixtures aren't amazing. Where's Southampton at? They're pretty low table in terms of expected goals over the last month, but I would expect Danny Ings to be pretty good. He also hasn't been playing a lot. You know what? I'm not even going to check the stats for Ings. I don't need to see his stats. I know that he's a great option when he plays against pretty much any team. He loves scoring goals. Look at this. He's 1,000 minutes and 10 goal involvements. That's pretty much a goal every 100 or attacking return every 100 minutes, which is fine. I'm fine with that at 8.3. But Martial's is actually not that bad. So 823 minutes and 7 returns. Again, that's pretty close to an attacking return every 100 minutes. So it's not too bad. He's a little more expensive though. I still don't love him. I think him out is my big decision that I have to really consider here. How have West Ham been defensively? Should I really even be considering their defender? I know they have good fixtures. Am I? Oh, there they are. I couldn't find them for the longest time. They're mid-table defensively. Okay. In terms of expected goals anyway. Those fixtures are really good too. Yeah, I love the West Brom fixture for defenses nowadays. West Brom don't... A lot of games, they just don't create much. So... If no Martial, and if I still want somebody that plays, okay. But Souček, if I get rid of Souček and I get somebody that plays there, maybe I do. Maybe this is the way to go. Because you could make the argument that Neto, his goals and assists per 90 minutes isn't as good as Martial's. He's much cheaper. This gives me money in the bank. If I did this, I think, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's incorrect information. That's exactly on. Ings and Neto versus Souček and Martial. So Neto over Souček. Neto could be 1 week. Ings obviously doesn't play, but then he's got Leicester and Leeds. Sort of worse long term. Martial arguably better long term, but more uncertainty about the long term because of rotation risk. So it's it's really kind of convoluted, and I don't think I'll be able to come to a clear decision here. But this is what I had my team as for a bit. So Neto, I think because I like Ings and Martial when they play. Ings is more central to the attack. Ings is on penalties now, right? He did take some penalties. I don't necessarily think he's amazing at them, but that's another story. Southampton did just beat Liverpool, so they should be pretty confident. West Ham did win 1-0 their last game as well. Wolves. Been a little more creative recently, you know. Mid-table, expected goals, not terrible. Let's check out Mr. Pedro Netto. I think he's a quality player, and that's one of the main reasons I've started, he's been on my watch list, even though I don't actually ever set an actual watch list. But Neto's a good player. I like the look of him. Expecting goals per 90 minutes. We can see Netto. That's not great. That's not great. 0.17. There's a lot of people better than that. So I really would be depending on him just being a good player, I guess. And that's one of my issues with Wolves. I know we just saw their expected goals isn't terrible, but sometimes I watch their games and I feel like it's got to be so low because I don't watch them and believe that they're going to create something. There are some teams, like in Manchester United games, a lot of times you watch them and you're like, okay, a goal is coming in this game. They're going to score. They look creative right now. And same thing with Man City. And some teams, but Wolves, I don't get that feeling a lot of times. West Brom next week. Would I really sell him before that anyway? Maybe I play Neto both weeks. Is Neto even a better option than Souček though? Maybe not. But now I'm talking about Ings and Souček, and now I don't have enough people that play. Or, I mean, I guess that's debatable. So right here I have... wait, let me make sure that I'm not messing this up. I can sell Martial, right? His price hasn't went up. No, it hasn't. So I can just do it just for the heck of it. Because I think Ings and Souček are the more trustworthy guys. So let's say this is the team. In this case, again, now I have 8. I think I could do better than that. I think I could get more than 8. And you know, if Martial, he's gonna play against Burnley, I think, because of the way that they rested him. So I think Martial is gonna play for this 1 week. So I think it's like I may just take the chance on him, and I don't like players that I'm worried about if they're going to start or not. But and then Souček, I mean, I guess I could just say that, you know, arguably he's just as good as Neto anyway. I don't necessarily believe that over the next 2, but he does have good fixtures. Man, maybe I'm just a Souček hater. I think that's what it is. I'm just trying to find a way to not get in Souček for whatever reason because I'm viewing him as a defensive mid when really he's not that bad. I mean, look at this. Over the past month, his expected goals per 90 minutes has been better than Neto. Expected assists is lower. I think Neto's overall expected goal involvement is higher. But, you know, West Ham are probably... Ooh. I don't know, man. I don't know. Souček's finished well. And I think the way the stats may lie here is the fact that I imagine Souček gets a lot of crosses that he's close to, that he doesn't quite get on the end of, that doesn't show up in the stats. So I'm going to say, you know what? For the first time this season, I may just have to go with Souček, and I may just leave this team how it is. And that would mean having Martial in. And you know, I don't know. Let me check out what is chat saying. Let me see what's going on here, because I am clearly not. Strike Son over Kane, so Laka in, Souček out. Maybe Lacazette is the key to some things here. I'll look at. Oh yeah, how long is Fabianski out? Good point. Good point, Andreas. Let me check that. Let me check Fabianski. So Fabianski Do we know how long Fabianski's out? 9-man, including Mitchell and Gisa to wild card. David, I think I would. Oh man. I mean, it depends on how much the wild card helps you. Obviously, I've wild carded, but the 9-man isn't terrible. So it just depends on how much you want these players long term. So like for example, I didn't have any Man City players. That's one reason I wild carded, because I wanted them in for wild card. And yeah, I heard about the Southampton Leeds postponement, and I gotta say that would just hurt. It would just hurt my team a lot. I have triple Leeds right now. Don't know. How long is Fabianski out? They're saying 75% chance of playing on here. I don't know exactly what that means, but what's up, Adam? How's it going? Okay, Leeds is on pin, yes. Suchek, oh man. Yeah, I have been hating Suchek recently. Maybe I do just throw Suchek in there, but let me look up the Leeds versus Southampton. Leeds versus Southampton postponement. Let's see what we can find on him. That was slow typing. Is Telegraph reliable? Who knows? Yeah, maybe Meslier out is a way to make that a little bit safer. But yeah, it doesn't look like Fabianski's going to be out for that long. Maybe not. Free hit would be different. I think. Maybe he. You got to be kidding me. You can't be doing this to me. This is why I go on Twitter. This is why I just search things on Twitter right here. Leeds, Southampton, FPL. See if we can get anything good. Any good information here. I haven't been keeping up with Twitter too much. Simon's pretty reliable. He says this is a confident statement. You see this? We will know before the deadline. Should know today. That was 6 hours ago. So that means that's good for me. That's great for wildcarders in general. I would trust that. I would trust that he knows what he's talking about. Ben Creelan 36 minutes ago says, "Oh yeah, I see what you posted earlier. I was trying to reload that Telegraph article, but I couldn't see it obviously. But they won't get a double game week. Yeah, so we'll see soon. Okay, so according to Ben Creelan, there's a 60% chance that Leeds versus Southampton won't need to be removed from game. So most likely this team is okay. So if Leeds don't play, in a way that makes things simpler, actually, because I can get rid of Dallas without feeling bad about it, and I can bring in somebody that plays this week. And, maybe that person will just be Lowton. Maybe, 3 games in the next 2. He's cheap. He's first on the list just because it's simple, 90 minutes, blah, 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 4.4. Maybe a way up to Tierney would be nice. I know I already have 2 Arsenal. Burnley defender is the most simple. I mean, I could take a risk. If I thought Bailly or Lindelof was nailed on, things would be a little bit more simpler, and then maybe, but that would have me get rid of Martial. So let's say Lowton would go in, and then from here, who knows? Does it really matter? Maybe I should have just kept Martinez, but there's so much uncertainty there now. Definitely not transferring him back in at that price. I did get him at like 4.8 or whatever, so maybe I just should have kept Martinez. He's been so good. He's kept so many clean sheets, so can't really hate on him. Wow. These goalkeepers, man, I'm telling you. So many overpriced players. Maybe I would just go with Sanchez. I mean, jeez, it's terrible too. Or maybe I would have to hope for some news that maybe Randolph is going to play consistently. Played last week, might play again. But I would be relying on that's in the future. That's a week from now when that second game in that double game week happens. And I would be getting him for the double game week. So Yeah, if this was to happen, oof, it makes the bench boost a little tougher, but I could always just get a keeper. I mean, I could always just bring in Alphonse Areola. He has 3 games. They're all really tough, but Fulham have been defending well. So maybe Areola would be the guy. There's De Gea. Is he going to play every game? Most likely, but you never know. I wouldn't really want to spend that much on somebody where I feel like he could get benched at some point. And there's Sheffield United, just amazing. Sheffield United, they're a great team. They have that guy, what's his name, Burke? Yeah, he's pretty good. So, Areola? It would probably just be Areola. Because if you think I'm getting Pope for 5.4 million, you're crazy. So, no. It would have to be somebody like this. I think it would be Areola. And that sucks, but I would just hope he saves the penalty or something, Having a Fulham and West Brom goalkeeper would not be ideal. And then I would have to decide what to do with Bamford. I would want him long term, but I couldn't get him. I couldn't get him over the next 2, so he would be gone. If Leeds wouldn't have that double game week, I think I get rid of all of them. I think I have to. I want to make the most of my bench boost and all that. Who knows who Bamford turns into? This would be the most difficult one. I don't even want to click on this guy, but Watkins, Aston Villa have so much going on there anyway. I don't really want to touch him. Maybe it would be Adams as long as I think he's healthy. But again, it's in the same fixture, so maybe not. Colin Wilson. I think Colin Wilson will end up in the team in that case. Hurts me for the double. So then let's see. I have these. So then I have 4 players with no double game week. It would give me an extra player not playing in a double game week. Man, that would be unfortunate. Because one reason I wildcarded was to get in Bamford. So that would be unfortunate. I'll have to keep what's been Creelan. I'm most likely going to be able to keep my Leeds guys, and that would be nice. So West Ham just released their recent lineup for today. And Antonio starts, which looks good. Souček's on the bench. Watch out. Is that actually bad? Because this looks like their first team, right? Why would they bench? Okay, Noble wouldn't start. Never mind. Souček would play over Noble, right? Like he's nailed on. I'm not even gonna entertain the fact that Souček may be benched soon. So, but Antonio, maybe Antonio would be the way to go for me. So maybe Bamford out isn't that bad if Antonio thinks he's going to be healthy for 2 seconds. It could be a good time to bring him in, actually. A lot of people won't be willing to use a transfer on him necessarily, but because I'm on wildcard, it wouldn't hurt too bad. So maybe Antonio in if that's the case. But I do want Bamford. And maybe I go Antonio anyways. Now that this could be the way to go, actually. Antonio in for Martial. Now that they're confident enough to start him here, maybe that means they're going to bench him. Maybe they're going to rotate him. But who are they going to rotate him with? Who would they rotate him with? That's an actual question. It would probably just be a young player that I honestly don't know anything about. And that's probably the end of the story. Unless they just play somebody out of position like Ben Rama. If they had to play a striker out of position, I don't know. I would almost want to see them throw Bowen up there, but probably won't happen. I think he would be decent at that. Burke triple captain? Yeah. Definitely. Any advice for wildcard game week 18 so that I can bench boost game week 19? Well, that's what I'm doing. I would just make sure you don't it's important to optimize if you're going to bench boost to optimize it, but just keep in mind that you want to walk away from both of these next 2 game weeks with a team that you can be happy with. So get good players and try to also get good players that play. It's okay to have some exceptions, but for example, Soufal, I've had him a lot. I got him in on my last wild card actually, and yeah, he plays in a double, which is nice, so I can use my bench boost well. But after this, he's still got Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Fulham, Sheffield United, games I can rotate him in and I want him in. Whereas if I get Loughton, it may be a little bit this is more, which Loughton may just be a terrible pick in general. Let's be honest. But if Dallas is out, I don't really know what I'm going to do, but it gives me a little bit more money. But yeah, just make sure you want the team longer term as well. Like, don't. I'm trying to. In this case, I don't think it's that big of a risk though. But I guess let me find an example. I wouldn't. I wouldn't get. You know, there's really no. I was gonna say I wouldn't get 2 Fulham players just because they play a double, but you wouldn't do that anyway because they have tough matchups. The only way I would do that is maybe the goalkeeper, because you can bench him and maybe sell him. But so if I don't get Martial and if I get Antonio instead, that could mean I take a risk. I could take a risk on Bailly then. So maybe holding out Bailly in if we think Bailly is gonna start, and that's something that I have to look at. Let's go to Bailly injury. Let's just go through everything right now. Bailly injury. What are we saying? Well, that doesn't sound good. Wow. Yeah, that's not great. Solskjaer reveals Lindelof, Shaw, and Pogba missed the FA Cup win over Watford due to injury. He says he hopes to have them back for Liverpool. He's not sure if they'll make Burnley. So not sure if they'll make Burnley probably means for me personally, Bailly's out of the question, which makes Martial more likely. But again, this player could also, I could simply just go up some more and get Maguire, which sucks. I was interested in Mr. Eric. Maybe Maguire ends up in the team. So what would that be? That's Antonio Martial versus Antonio Martial. Oh man, Antonio and Maguire versus Martial and Dallas. I don't mind. You know, this one's a little more trustworthy in terms of they're going to play as long as Antonio's fit. Now I have triple West Ham all of a sudden. My initial wildcard draft had 0. Jeez. We'll see what happens with Antonio today. If he's subbed off early, I like it. If he plays 90 minutes, for some reason I think he's going to get rotated. I don't know who they would sub him out with. When do West Ham play? Oh, that's Tuesday. That's next week. They're fine. I'm thinking they're going to play, so it doesn't really matter. Maybe he's getting minutes for fitness. Don't get hurt today, Antonio, and then you'll be an option for me. We'll see about that. Martial has got good expected goals recently, though. I mean, you saw I pulled it up earlier. Like, he looks like a good option if he plays. So I still think he's high upside, but Antonio in these fixtures, he's just coming back from injury. We don't know what his form is going to be like. Is he really that trustworthy? I mean, this season he did start off reasonably well, but, you know, 570 minutes and 3 goals, that's about 200 minutes per goal, a little bit less. It's worse than Martial in terms of goal involvement. He is cheaper, though, and he allows me to get him more stable. And that's money in the bank, so this would make it pretty easy to get Salah back. I'm pretty close already. I could go straight from De Bruyne to Salah if I ever wanted to. Souček, I'm going to make everybody mad getting rid of Souček. Upgrade. But maybe I just sit with 2.3 in the bank. Soufal, I mean, I can get a Liverpool defender if I really wanted to, but I don't. Or I could go up to De Gea instead of Meslier. You know, in a no Leeds draft, I would probably go De Gea. I don't want to say probably, but I'd probably just make this Areola and then Bamford. Wow. Yeah, either way, if Leeds is called off, then it's going to be Antonio and Martial, I would say. Maybe you could say that's 2 risks, but maybe not. Whose price is going to go up tonight? That'll probably decide who I throw in my team right now. But those are probably the 2 options I have. No Leeds changes everything, but if no Leeds, the team is if no Leeds, the team will be, you know, it'll probably be Areola. I don't want that much money in goalkeeper, so the team would end up like this. I think we go Areola here, unfortunately, and then we throw in Martial and Antonio, simply because I don't necessarily think there's many options. That would allow me to not get like Maguire or anybody like this, but who would? Because then I have some money here. Would I want to spend up, or would I want to just go with somebody cheaper? I mean, Saiss is an option. Next 2 game weeks could be fine. Let's see. So now I have 1, 2. How many people that play 1 and double? So these 2. So okay, I could really go either way with this. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to play this week or double. There's no real. I just got to get a decent option. Maybe I go triple Arsenal. Bellerin or Tierney. You know, Tierney could be the way to go. I'm just the team of triple ups. Triple West Ham, triple Man City, triple Manchester United, and triple Arsenal. That feels like something bound to go wrong. I mean, look at this team. Look at my no Leeds team. It's literally just a bunch of triple ups. Well, not literally, but you get the point. Jeez, what's wrong with me? But I mean, I wouldn't be too against it, to be honest. I would still pull the trigger on that. For some reason, that just doesn't bother me. I mean, who else would I get? Can't get another Manchester United. I mean, maybe a Tottenham player. 2 decent fixtures, right? I could get Eric Dyer. It's fine enough. Or maybe just Dyer for 1 week and then sell. Maybe Dyer for 1 week and sell. This actually doesn't sound bad. Dyer 1 week, and then I bring in somebody with a good double game week. And there's a couple of those, actually. So Dyer for 1 week, and then I would bring in... Who would be the best for that? I already have 3 West Ham. I was going to get another West Ham guy. Jeez, man. Maybe I would get another West Ham defender, and maybe I would get rid of Souček and go Neto, just so I could get another West Ham defender, because I don't want a Wolves defender, but I'd be fine with Neto. So maybe that would be the way to go. Or, of course, there's always Mr. Loughton. But then I wouldn't be spending all my money, and I'd feel bad. So this would probably be something like the no Leeds team, but of course, it's slightly unlikely to happen. I'm leaning towards, which I could get rid of Dallas anyway. Dallas has good attacking threat. Let's look at Dallas. This will probably be my final real thing that I need to look at. Let me go to Leeds here. Let's see, in terms of expected assists, anyway, let's see how good Dallas has been. It's always worth checking. I'll still have to go back and watch some highlights of these players. Or the last, the NBC Sports upload like the 10-minute highlight videos, 10 to 15 minutes. And they can, because it's not just all goals and assists, it gives you like an idea of how players were positioned and how they moved into the box, all that kind of stuff, which can be helpful. Expected assists per 90 minutes. Dallas isn't, but his expected goals per 90 minutes is pretty good for a defender over the past month. I'll take that. 0.14. It's not bad. And he's cheap too. Brighton, Southampton to Newcastle could be clean sheet games for them. But then I would have the decision between Martial and Antonio, which I suppose I would go with the cheaper option here of Antonio, and that would give me money to just simply do whatever here. And that could be Maguire, that could be Tierney. Of course, I already have 2 of each of those teams. It would be Maguire, though, because they have the extra game. So I like this team. I like the look of this. I'll have to keep some tabs on Antonio. I do want Martial in my team. Like, I want him and I don't want him at the same time. And I know that literally is impossible. I could bring in Wan-Bissaka. His price goes up tonight. Martial's price goes up tonight as well. Or most likely. I will say, if you're using FPLstatistics.co.uk, which is a great site, FPL Statistics. Wow. So I said it wrong the first time, then the second time. Let's see if I can get a third try. FPLstatistics.co.uk. And that's how you say it. Their stats have been a little bit incorrect because a lot of people free hitting and wild carding and stuff like that. So when it gets the numbers of the transfers, but if you play one of those chips, it doesn't it doesn't impact price. So I'm going to say my team ID just to make their information a little more correct so that they know I am using my wild card. And my team ID is 110201. I am being a good Samaritan. Look at this. They know I'm wild carding. I assume they just like take a sample size and take like the percentage and then like have a way to figure it out, like what the average amount is. So I'll go into tonight with Martial in my team, I think. And on deadline stream, I'll have to decide Martial to Antonio. Obviously, I'll have a lot of Leeds things to do as well. But Martial, he's got to stay in my team for tonight because it's going to go up. So I don't want to take him out yet. But man, that would allow me to bring Maguire in. That's pretty trustworthy. So I think right now I'm leaning towards Antonio. But I'll keep Martial in for now just for the heck of it. I don't think I would be interested in bringing Wan-Bissaka in. I know his price goes up tonight as well. So arguably I could bring him in. But, you know, he has been rested sometimes this season. And I mean twice in the EPL season. Maguire, 90 minutes every game. Good goal threat, too. Second in terms of threat. Pretty good at XG. The issue is that he simply can't score, apparently. But it's better than Wan-Bissaka, even though Wan-Bissaka is 0.1 cheaper for now. So I think I'll take the price rise of Martial. I'll have to look into the Leeds thing. But I think tomorrow, just making sure everything doesn't go crazy. And with the Leeds could change everything. Where's Antonio at? Where are these players at? Loughton might go up. Maybe I throw him into the team just to get the price rise in case I end up bringing him in. Loughton, Holgate. So none of these players are really going to go up, are they? Chilwell, Adams, Taylor, Matip, Lamptey, Schmeichel, and Dunn are all going to drop tonight. Doesn't affect me in any way, but may affect you guys. Oh, man. So all this... At least I know basically what I'm going to do with no Leeds. I know what I'm going to do, but I haven't changed the team. I haven't changed the team besides, imagine Antonio here and then Maguire here. How does that look? That's not bad. It's still, it'd be a 4-4. Yeah, it'd be a 4-4-1. And maybe, maybe instead of Johnston. Okay, this is a separate decision. This is just straight up. I don't know. Assuming Leeds play, is Areola actually a better option than Johnston? I know long term he's not, but Fulham have been defending better recently. They've kept 2 clean sheets in the last 3. Decent opposition. I mean, look at this. Pretty in the last 4, conceded 1 to Liverpool, 0 to Brighton, 1 to Newcastle, 0 to Southampton. At home, they've conceded 1 in the last 3, which is very good. Tough matchups, but they play in the blank and the double, and then they have 2 good matchups. So, right now, I think Areola, he gives me the extra game. It's 1 extra game, but they're all tough compared to 2 good matchups. So, I don't really know how I would even try to measure that. Tottenham away, do they have a chance? I mean, surely they just get to kill these games, right? So maybe Johnson's better. Let's see who rotates better with Meslier, assuming I'm able to keep Meslier. So they have tough ones in, I'll say 21, 28, and 31 through 33. That's basically it. So 21, 28, 31 through 33. 21, they play West Brom. That works. 28 doesn't work. 31 through 33, well, they already blanked 33. They have 2 games to make up, though. One of them is in that blank. It's about the same as the other guy because I looked at it earlier. So let's say, most likely Areola, let's say he gets he'll probably get would he get one of those clean sheets? Probably not. Oh man. Fulham had been defending well though. West Brom against Wolves and West Ham. I think West Ham score. I still think they lose their clean sheet. I'm actually leaning towards Areola here. Oh. I think I'm gonna get him, Mr. Areola. Gives me a playing goalkeeper. It gives me a fighting chance this week. And that's a lot of the spark from the fact that I simply saw, well, first of all, West Brom all the way up here in terms of expected goals, and Fulham are all the way down here. Very good. So that gives me a playing goalie this week, which is nice. So maybe Areola, and then I could just say get Johnson in instead of Meslier if they don't play. All right, well, that works. That seems okay to me. That means I play 10 players this week. It means I play 10. I'll leave I should probably play my I'll put my Leeds guys in the starting lineup. At least Meslier and Dallas. Just because who knows, like maybe they have a game rescheduled to this week or something crazy, and in that case they'd probably have a better matchup. So I'll put Bamford in. Souček on the bench is fine, I think, and Dallas on the bench is fine. Soufal, whatever. So for now, this is the team. Again, this could change to Martial to Antonio and Dallas to Maguire, and then if Leeds is out, it would be a little bit different, but same basic structure. I haven't decided to change the structure at all. I had to think more about it though. You know, maybe just being on stream is making me not change it, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty happy with that. All in all, I'm perfectly fine with that. So there we have it. The basics of the wildcard team. If I keep Martial and don't go Antonio, but who knows what happens with that whole thing. I'm free. I'm wildcarding. Yeah. You may not have seen the thumbnail. But yeah, this is my wildcard team. It's my wildcard team. Again, holding out could be something that I do. If I'll have to look up more news about if holding is going to start. The midfield's going to stay. And especially with people like Blues wanting me to get Souček. Yeah, let me check FPL Twitter on my phone. When is the FPL Cup draw? They're live on Twitter. Let me not play that audio. I don't know if I can put it up on stream or not. Let me see. Ooh, wow. Manchester United faced Liverpool in the FA Cup 4th round. It's interesting. Let me go back to Mr. Rockstar's page because I know he'll be posting about it if anything crazy happens. Ten minutes ago, here we go. I'm very confused about what's going on. Let's look it up. Wait, let me check chat. Y'all know what you're talking about, right? Arsenal FA Cup. And what did Ben Crellin say earlier? Ben Crellin said that, what was it? Okay, so Southampton / Shrewsbury faced Arsenal, Leicester. Oh well. I can't watch it, so I'm not pulling it up on my channel and streaming it, I don't think, but yeah, so basically I don't want. I just don't want this to happen. I don't want Leeds or if I don't want Southampton / Shrewsbury to face Arsenal, Leicester, Manchester United, or Spurs. And given that Manchester United play Liverpool, it's one down. I don't know exactly what the case is. Would you have Grealish and Vardy for the double game week, or Salah and Adams? Grealish and Vardy. Okay, for a double game week. Sounds pretty good. There's some doubt about Grealish, though, so I'm not all in on that one. Or Salah and Adams. So one thing we're looking at now is the Southampton Leeds game, and that double game week could be called off, so that could change some things. In that case, I wouldn't have Adams. And in that case, I would probably go with what's his name? Antonio. Okay, I see you're gonna get rid of 2 single game week players. I can't advise you to getting Grealish or Adams at the moment, simply because we don't know what's going on. I like Vardy. I like the Vardy double game week. So I'd go Vardy and another maybe Vardy and just simply, I hate to just default to Souček, but maybe Vardy and Souček. I know that gives you some more money elsewhere, and he's not as good as Grealish, but it's a tough one. But yeah, I would just say I couldn't quite advise Grealish or Adams at the moment. I like Antonio over Adams for the double game week. So maybe you just go Salah and Antonio if that fits your team. I'm not sure if it does or not, but if Adams does play in the double game week, like if that fixture that they're talking about now, it comes, and I think that's fine too. If you choose Adams over Antonio, that works. Southampton, I like the matchup. Don't they play Leeds? Because I was looking at Ings. They play Leeds, which is a good matchup, and they also play Leicester, which is it's probably not the best, but again, Southampton have been okay. It's not bad. So this is the wild card team as it stands. We got Areola, Cancelo, Stones, Holding, De Bruyne, Fernandes, Saka, Rashford, Bamford, Martial, Kane, Dallas, Souček, Soufal, and Meslier. Leeds players could go, Martial could go. So there's probably like 4 changes that could be made. Other than that, I think Souček's going to end up in the team. Kind of unfortunate, man. I wanted El Ghazi. I really did want El Ghazi. I felt like that was going to be a good reason to wild card, but now I have arguably even more reason to wild card because I can't have any of my Villa players. So I would have probably ended up wild carding even if I didn't, for the reasons I did in the first place. And this gives me almost a full team. I think this team could get a green arrow, right? One thing that I will say is I think a lot of us, like if you're watching this video right now, you probably have a good chance of getting a green arrow if you've planned somewhat for this, or if you're going to free hit or whatever, because there will probably be like a lot of the dead teams or people that just forget or whatever the case may be, that play with like 4 players or whatever. One thing that does suck is I could see myself in a position where I made an early transfer like of El Ghazi in, because I thought that was a good move. And now all of a sudden everything's happened. So it's just terrible, and that may put you in a situation where you're like, oh, now I have to free hit. So I'm sure that sucks for a lot of people. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there in terms of the stream. I got my basic decisions. I'm not going to be making a last second decision now on the deadline stream, which is always nice. Every time you experiment with your free hit, you're always 0.1 million off. I will address this first. This is called confirmation bias. And this is when we put more significance on, whatever it may be, and then we remember it better. So let's look up confirmation bias. This is what you're experiencing. The tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of one's existing beliefs or theories. It is what it is. Now, I don't know that for sure because I don't know the exact statistics of how many times you've experimented with it and what's happened, but I think that's the case. But it's also the case that, as FPL players, we're trying to stretch our money as much as possible. So we're going to end up with like a lot of little red in the negative things there. But yeah, and it's close to the price where you think it might fit. So there's a lot of reasons. That's the legitimate reason why, if you wanted to know. Anyway, thanks for watching the stream. If you wildcarded, hopefully you learned something from this. But yeah, this is just me going through picking my wildcard team, I guess. And yeah, it hasn't changed too much, but at least I know what I'm going to do tomorrow for the deadline stream, so I can answer you guys' questions then more effectively. Physiology. It's exactly what that is. I probably won't get Salah in for the double game week. It's always a possibility, like De Bruyne out or something, if something crazy happens. And I could go Kane out and upgrade somebody else, as I sort of mentioned earlier. That would be more like with the Antonio strategy and not Martial, because I'd have some money in the bank and I could leave it available to do that. I could do Kane down to Brewster, but it wouldn't work because I want a free hit that week, so I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe in like 4 or 5 weeks Salah comes back in. But yeah, I will leave this there. This is the wildcard team at the moment. I think it looks pretty good. Green arrows are hopeful for the upcoming future. Yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.